So just a recap of what we have seen in yesterday's session is we have started to know what exactly is SQL. In order to communicate to a database, you have to know a language, and the language which we are going to learn is SQL. It stands for Structured Query Language, right? So, as I said, anything you learn, it's always best practice to know about history. So, we also know that SQL came into existence 50 years back. Still, it is one of the technology which is in demand because of its unique feature. What is its unique feature? What is its unique feature? No other technology or no other language can communicate to a database faster than SQL, right? If you want to do any transaction, it has to happen immediately. The speed and the fastness with respect to accessing the data will happen only from SQL, right? So, just an example of what we have seen. We have seen about why do you need a database. A database is a heart of an application where it is going to manage the entire life cycle of an application, where whatever the user enters in a UI has to go to the database and has to store there. That is how a application runs, right? Now we see about the SQL. We have seen about the history of the SQL. Okay, we have seen a simple table example how the data is getting stored. Data is getting stored in a table format. Okay, so where it is a combination of rows and columns. This is what a table storage. Okay, so as I said, we have interacted with our colleagues with respect to different projects, different companies, and we have taken a survey. SQL is one of the most widely used in the market because of its OLTP transaction. Because of its OLTP type of transaction. No other technology can match the speed of the processing with respect to SQL. Okay. So in order to explain why SQL is important, I give it two examples. One is example of OLAP and one is example of OLTP. Okay. If you want to do any transactions which has to happen immediately, okay, suppose a person A has to send money to person B, and person B and person A's account has to affect immediately. Only if it is affecting immediately, then I would say this is what a transaction means. And the best example which this process can be done without any delay is using a normal structured database with the SQL language, right? Now, now this should happen immediately. See, whether the transaction is getting failed or not, it's fine. If it's successful, it has to happen within seconds or milliseconds. This is what is expected. Okay, no other technology can match the speed of SQL. Remember this, right? Now, now let me give you a few more examples. The few more examples are ATM transaction. The moment you enter your PIN, you have to get the cash, and immediately your account has to be affected. If it is not affecting, let us say in the ATM systems, if they're telling that I will have to update after 1 day, there is high chance that you may withdraw all money than the balance. Okay, so it manages the time to time transactions. Coming for the other example, OLAP example, the system take care of some analysis. They monitor 3 to 4 days, then they come up with a decision. For example, you wanted to buy a product, you add to the cart. Maybe you did not purchase. The next day again you add it to the cart. Fine. After that you again add it to the cart. Still fine. But after that you will get some offers, discounts, cashbacks, EMI options. What Amazon will think is this person is having some issues with the, maybe he's expecting some discounts, or maybe he's thinking as a overpriced. Let me give some discounts is what Amazon will think. This can happen only after 2 3 days. It need not have a immediate effect, not required immediately. Why will I give an offer? I don't want to make a loss from my end. Okay, so this is about OLAP. We have seen till here. Okay, now we will continue forward. Okay, I just gave a recap. Every session I try to give a recap so that you're also with me on the same page. Okay, now let's see some difference. Let's see some difference. Okay, so this one, OLTP, maybe I will call it as a my SQL example. Okay, MySQL, or the language which I use will be SQL. Okay, this is, let us say, some XYZ technology. Okay, so if you come into OLTP, okay, handles a large number of small transactions, even every day, though there is a limit, for number of transactions in a ATM. Okay, maybe you cannot transact more than 40,000, 50,000 as of today. That is what the RBI has given in India. But let us assume, even if you're going and withdrawing 500, 500, 500, even if you do it for 50 times, still every transaction it will go and update in a database. So I can tell as large number of small transactions. You go and withdraw 50 times, 100 times. No one is going to ask you. But the thing is, every transaction it is going on updating immediately, right? Whereas OLAP is there. OLAP is there. Just take an example of that Amazon. What exactly happens? 3 days they will analyze. When did he come online? When did he browse a product? What product he browsed? Why he is not buying? He added to the cart. Why he is not buying? Again he came next day. What time he came? Whether did he go till the payment or something happened towards the payment page? Again he's adding some different colors. What exactly is looking for? And third day, again this person has done the same thing, coming, adding, not buying. What is stopping him? This 3 day analysis I have to make completely to come up with a decision. Obviously, this will be large volume of data, 3 to 4 days of data with the complex queries. 3 days I have to analyze. Forget about one person. How many people will be doing like this in Amazon, Flipkart? So it is going to take some time, and this type of transactions will have complex queries. Complex means 3 days they have to analyze. What happens in OLTP? Hey, you have 10,000 balance, you go and withdraw 500. Okay, 9,500. Very simple subtraction. Again you go, again you go, again you make a transaction. Again 9,500 minus 500. Okay, 9,000. Very easy. I need not even use a calculator. I can do it myself. That type of small transaction updates will be with respect to OLTP. OLAP, 3 days, 4 days, even one day, they will analyze your complete activities. Then they will come up with the solution. Okay, so as I said, this is going to be simple query, this is going to be complex query, because time to time analysis versus time taking analysis, like 3 days, 4 days, it's going to take some time. Okay, coming to the response time, actually yesterday I was telling it has to give response in seconds. Okay, but what these people are telling, it should happen milliseconds. The moment you transaction, the effect has to take place. Whether you're withdrawing the money, or you're actually giving the money, or to sending some money to someone, the effect has to be immediate. If the effect is not immediate, Maybe you cannot have a proper organized optimized process of transactions. Okay, milliseconds it has to affect. And this is, it can take minutes, it can take hours, it can take even days, okay, to process the data. It can say take some time. I am not dependent on the time to time transactions. I will always be dependent on hourly basis or some 3 days, 4 days data. So obviously this could be the response time with respect to OLAP. Okay. And coming to source, this is a current transaction happening. You go and withdraw 500, it's an immediate transaction. Again, after 1 hour, you go and withdraw 500, it's an immediate transaction. After 1 hour, you send some money to someone, immediate transaction. But what happens here? What happens here is they will check 3 days how much time I came in, how many times I came in, how many times I spent, how much time I spent on the page. This is actually aggregated. Aggregated means adding together, counting together, something with respect to function. It's not going to happen one step. They are going to combine everything and give a report. In SQL or in a MySQL, OLTP, what happens? Every transaction is getting recorded. Whereas in OLAP, what they will tell is, okay, last 3 days, this is what you did. Last 3 days, this is what the number of times you visited. Those aggregated some logic they will write, and that is what they will give as a source. Okay. And finally purpose, control and run essential business operations in the real time. What do you mean by control the real time application? Is any transactions happening, you go and book your a ticket, you go and book your any like with respect to Amazon only, you do some transactions, or you go and send some money to someone, or you go to ATM transaction, it has to happen immediately with respect to real time business operation. Always the system has to be active. Okay, 24/7 the system will be active. Whereas this one, 3 days, 3 days, they will analyze, then they will come up with some plan. Hey, let's give some offer to this guy. He's not purchasing. 3 days he logged in, but he's not purchasing anything. Let's improve our business. Let's find out some hidden insights. What is hidden insights? What time he's logging in? What is he doing? Why he is not purchasing? All those things let me take. It's going to be hidden information. Okay. This is a this is a yes. Any question? Okay. So this is the difference between OLAP and OLTP. And again I'm repeating, with respect to the OLTP systems, SQL is the only language which can do faster than any other technology. That is why still it is in demand. Even today, most of the organizations will be using this because of its unique feature. That unique feature is it is going to give you faster performance with respect to time, storage, volume, and the purpose. This is going to be the on top now. Okay. So this is the difference between OLAP and OLTP. Expected question. If you're going for an interview, that too, especially you're going for a SQL, this question is expected. What is the difference between OLAP and OLTP? Okay, my suggestion is don't go with the definition. Always try to explain in terms of layman terms. If you explain the examples, like by giving examples, the opposite person or the panelist or the interviewer will expect some knowledge. Let us assume they don't know anything and you are teaching him in a layman terms. That is what they expect. Okay, there could be n number of examples, but you remember just our common example. You have transacted your friend, maybe Google Pay, Phone Pay, immediately your balance is getting. Keep that in mind about OLTP. Okay, and some decisions you take after 3 4 days of thinking. Amazon also will monitor your 3 to 4 days of thinking, 3 to 4 days of your activities. Those example you keep it as a OLAP. Keep one example. Don't always read or by heart these definitions. It is not going to help you. The only thing which is going to help you is understand whatever topics we discuss, link it to your real time. That is how you remember. No one can remember everything. Okay, our brain is like even processing. Apart from the storage, it is also processing. How much data you will store? So obviously, some examples you relate it to your real-time examples. That is how you can remember concepts. Okay. Now, most of the data scientists or most of the data analyst, whichever is like nowadays, data science is in demand. Data science role is something like people are like wanted to move there. If you see here, about 45% of the data is coming from OLTP. When I say 45%, all the transaction data, all the details is coming from OLTP. Okay, but though this 45% is coming from the OLTP, the language which everyone is using is SQL as a first. 45% of the data is coming from the OLTP systems. Okay, but the things which are happening in the real time is SQL language is most widely used. Okay, one more thing I'm telling you, we are into a technology driven world. We are moving, as I said, you have everything from your, you can do everything from your home, one place. Just a smartphone, just the internet, you can do anything, right? So nowadays we are into the technology driven world. Obviously we are moving towards a data, big data, data science. All the things are going forward. Okay, though the world is moving to the big data, this is very important. SQL will never be replaced because of its unique benefited fast processing, which cannot match the speed of any other technology or language. SQL will never be replaced. I can give you in paper, written paper, in the next 20 years, still SQL will be in demand. If someone is asking me, hey, what is the mandatory thing you have to know to survive in IT? Everyone will tell English for communication. If you ask me, I would say English and SQL. With only SQL also, you can have a very good career path. That type of demand you're having with respect to this language. Right? So please remember, though we are into a different technology world, this SQL has come 50 years back. It cannot be replaced. Right? So that way it is useful for every analysis. Now we will be concentrating on SQL. Okay. Now let us say for everything there is a competition. For everything there is a competition, right? So what are the competitions? Maybe if you take a phone, for iPhone, maybe Samsung could be the challenging. For Samsung, maybe the competitor could be the MI. For MI, there could be the Vivo. So always there is a challenges or the competitors between the products. Similarly, we were talking about the We are talking about the database. What is database? It is basically to store the data for your business. Okay. What is IBM people have done is they have created their own database in their organization. They have created their own database in the organization. Okay. And what happened? What happened? They have also given lease to some companies. Hey, if you want to use your database for your application, use mine. Use our IBM database and pay you some, and you pay me something. Chapter close. There is some startup company. A startup company cannot own their own database because building a database is not easy. It's a huge task. So what they'll do, they cannot prepare for their budget. So what will do? They'll come to IBM. They will ask, "Hey, I want to use your database. I'll pay this much." That way, Microsoft SQL Server is having its own database. Postgre is own having its own database. IBM is having own database. Oracle is having own database. Okay, but but almost everything is like similar. Everything is similar. Okay, it's not that huge change. Some small syntax changes, or maybe I would say small features could be different. Maybe IBM supports some 10 GB of data. Maybe SQL Server may support 8 GB of data. Or maybe Oracle will be supporting 15 GB, but maybe it could be a licensed one. This type of this type of changes will be there. Okay. Now let me give an example. Say I'm speaking in English. You're understanding in English. Why? Because both of us know English. When you are speaking, even I will understand. Why? Because I also know English. It's like a two-way traffic. Whatever I tell, you listen. Whatever you tell, I listen. Both of us will speak together. Right? But what is a common thing between us is English. Today, I'm in India. I'm in India. All my students are from India. So basically, I will speak in a normal English. I'm not using any posh English. I'm not using any standard words. I'm not using any some difficult vocabularies. No, a simple one I'm speaking and you're understanding. Because I assume that, okay, all my students are Indians. Tomorrow, let us say I was invited for a session in US or UK. I go there. Do you expect me to be in the same phase, same problem of same vocabulary? Definitely not. Though I'll be still speaking in English, my seminar or session will still go in English. But but one thing it's going to change is my sentence formation, my phrases, my slang, my speed, my vocabulary, everything is going to change. Because I need to adjust according to a US people so that they are able to understand. Some people, if I speak in this speed, maybe they will not understand. I have to go very slow. Or maybe if you go to UK or a Canada, I have to speak very fast. Then only they can understand. Like this, each and every country, though the English is common, slight changes are there, but the language is not going to change. Remember that the language is not going to change. I'm not going and speaking in their own language. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to Sri Lanka. Okay, I'm not like going and talking in some Ceylon or something, some language, their own language. No, I'm still going to speak in English only. So the English language is common. Now, similarly, all these databases, the language is going to be SQL. That is what we are going to learn, SQL. Tomorrow, after this course, maybe who knows, directly you can work with IBM. Who knows, directly you work in Oracle. If you're working in Oracle will not use IBM product. No, Oracle itself is having their own product. That is a database. Why will they go and borrow IBM? Come for IBM. If you're tomorrow working in IBM itself they own their database. Why will they borrow someone's? Understand? Like this, like this. The company which you go depends what database they are using, but you need not worry because we are going to concentrate more on the language part. If you learn the language, you can go and communicate anywhere. That way, in our course, we are going to learn one database. Language is something common, and we are going to learn one language. That tool will be MySQL. Remember this, MySQL is a database. SQL is a language. Okay, MySQL is a database and SQL is a language. Remember that. Database and language, there is always a difference. Okay, Oracle is a database. IBM is a database. DB2 is a database. What is a database? Which stores the information of a business. It stores the records. Maybe I'll call it as a database. MySQL is also a database. But language which I use in all these tools is SQL. Okay, so we have to learn one tool. That tool which we are going to learn is MySQL, and the language is pretty common. That is SQL language, structured query language. Okay, so this is what we are going to see. Okay, now you may ask me, hey, why are you teaching MySQL? Why don't you teach Oracle? Why don't you teach IBM? Why don't you teach Microsoft SQL Server? Okay, so as a beginner, I would say, as with respect to the companies, as with respect to the real-time applications, the most widely used database is MySQL. Most of the companies are using this MySQL database. Okay, so what is the advantage of this? When I say I'm teaching MySQL, I should prove you that why I have choose MySQL than the other database. Okay, on the screen towards your right side of your slide, whichever companies you're seeing, all these companies are using MySQL for their day-to-day processing with respect to SQL database. Okay, all this, if you see Facebook, Wikipedia, NASA, Adobe, all this company, it's just a hand-picked companies. These companies are using MySQL for their analysis. Okay, and though MySQL is actually available for free source like open source, you yourself can you yourself can open create an account, or maybe even not require that, you can directly go and download it and work for your system. You can install directly in your laptop and you can start working on it. Okay, so basically database is used to store the data. You can install and you can store the data in a table format. Okay, and it is having high volume capabilities, and also it is a cross platform compatibilities. When I say cross platform, you can install in your Windows system, you can install in your Mac OS, you can install in your Linux machine, you can also install in your Ubuntu machine, irrespective of with respect to whatever operating systems you have. For every version, for every OS, you have this tool. That is why it is called cross platform. Okay, and it is actually reliable, highly secure. Okay, everyone tells that okay, your data has to be protected. This also will be responsible for high security. Very, very easy to use. Very, very easy to use. Okay, not that difficult to go and operate here. So everything is going to be useful. Okay, so it's going to be easy to use. So this is about MySQL. Okay, so I would like to give a pause here. Any questions, whatever we have discussed in the last 20-25 minutes? Any questions, what we have discussed in the last 20-25 minutes?
Yeah. Good morning, Santosh Kar.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is the difference between MySQL and SQL? That is, I understood. Can I express you? So, what is the difference? So, MySQL is a database, and SQL is a structured query language. But MySQL is a separate database like a Facebook and Twitter and something uh, Instagram. That is these are all uh, MySQL database. Is it right?
See, I would say I'll put it in a different way. Okay. Um, SQL is a language. Okay. SQL is a language. Using this language, you're communicating to a database. Oracle is a database. DB2 is a database. IBM is a database. MySQL is a database. Microsoft SQL Server is a database. Okay. So when I tell that MySQL is like a open source relational database. Okay. When I say it's a open source, you can directly go and download it by your own and you can start working on your applications. It is like a normal database. When you come for this database is created by Microsoft. This is created by IBM. This is created by Oracle. So all good, maybe the branded companies have created their own database for their application use, and also they give it for lease, rent for other companies. Okay, both are database. Microsoft SQL Server is also a database. MySQL is also a database. But if you go for a MySQL Server, that is the Microsoft MySQL Server, what happens? The storage and whatever the features they are giving, everything will be more than the MySQL. Okay, why? Because this is going to be paid version. You have to pay the license and you have to use an enterprise application. When I say enterprise application, everything it will give you. Everything it will give you. Okay, so I would say if you go for a Microsoft SQL Server, it's a huge database. Okay, where all the features you will get it. But again, at the end of the day, it is going to charge you with respect to licensed. Other than that, there is nothing change. A small access changes, data storage changes. Those changes will be there, but two different database. Did I clear your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes.
What then PSQL, sir? What about PSQL?
PLSQL is again we'll be seeing further. Okay. Maybe I'll be explaining that as well. But the thing is, um, have you ever heard about is language in the sense? Language in the sense. Okay. What language you know? Java,
Java, C plus.
.NET, C, C++, C hash, and maybe now we also know SQL is also a language.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. All this you already know. Let us assume you already know. What is a basic coding concept? Maybe if condition will be there, for loop will be there, while loop will be there for repeated task, some stored program will be there, all this will be there. Okay. But if you go for SQL, you may not find all this. Whereas if condition, for loop condition, while no, it is not like that. Though it's a language, you will not find all this. So to write a logic, to make a repetitive task, to rewrite, to reuse the code, whatever you have written, you will be using a concept called PLSQL. So this stands for procedural language. Now you can implement all the for loop coding like standards. If you want to use a for loop, while loop, if loop, so some logic has to be written. That coding maybe I can implement in PL/SQL. You will see later.
This is a PostgreSQL. What about Postgre?
Postgre database is again a database.
Okay,
All
fine.
these are database. This is a database. This is a database. This is a database. Everything is a different database. If you
Okay.
want to store your data, you may even go with Samsung mobile. You may even go with iPhone mobile. You may go with Vivo phone. Everyone is having 64 GB. Maybe you will, if you pay extra, you may get 150, 128 GB. Everything is a storage only. Which one you're using depends on your budget, depends of your use case, depends upon your data. Similarly, there are many database in the market based on what you need, based on what is your requirement. On that basis only, you will be using it.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now what we will do, we are going to learn MySQL. Okay. And next, what you have to understand is we have to start our practical classes. Okay. So we have to start our practical classes. We have to start working with our database. So for that, first step for any new tool which you are going to learn is always going to be installation. Okay. So I am going to download MySQL for my classes. Okay. What is the official website? We have given this. After that, you are going to have two options. Okay. I'm going to show you with respect to the Windows. Okay. You have two options. In the two options, I would always recommend you to go for this one. Okay. Why? Because this tool will be installed in your system. This will be installed in your laptop. Like, it's like, let me give an example. Okay. Uh, if you're using Facebook, if you're using Facebook, let us assume in your phone, you can install a Facebook application, Facebook app getting from Play Store. Okay. And still you can go and use your Facebook. Now, what I'm telling, without app, can you use a Facebook? In your mobile, without Facebook app, can you use Facebook?
Yes, sir.
How?
Go to the browser and login credential.
Yes, yes. You can use Facebook either from app or either from web. Okay. I rarely check my Facebook account once in a month, once in a year. Why will I simply store it as an app? It is going to kill my memory. So obviously I am not going to use an app. Whenever is required, I will go and use web version. Whenever I'll go, I'll use web version. Okay. Similarly, whenever I want to use database, whenever I want to use a database, okay, I can go and use web version or app version. This is like a web version. That's why the size is very less. This is like a app which requires more. Okay, you need minimum 8 GB. Okay, and some good processor, maybe above 5, Intel above 5, something like a good processor. Okay, and you should have minimum like 500 GB at least space, like for a normal use, normal laptop, and with Windows 8 or 10 to install this MySQL installer. Some people who may face difficulty in installing, you can go for this one, web version. In both of them, you can see your news. You can go and post it your, but maybe this is a better one compared to web. Okay, in web, what happens? Maybe it will not be that proper. You will be still seeing the browser link, and the thing is, if you're going with this, this is also accepted, but I will always recommend this. Okay, so always go and install a app rather than web. If your system configurations is not supporting, don't go and buy a new laptop, not required. Okay, go with the web version, because you're going to learn. Web version will be same like app version only. The only difference is this will work without internet, because you already have installed in your system, so it is present as an application software. This software does not require internet while you're working, but this one always you have to be connected to internet. Always you have to connect it to internet. Okay, so as I said, the recommended one will be app one. Okay, if you install this app one, maybe I would say you can use it whenever you want. You need not even have internet. You can just, while installing and all, you need, after installation you need not even required, you can directly go and access your database. Okay, so this is about MySQL installation. Okay, now what I have done is, if you see here, when I click this, it will land it to my database. Okay, what I've done, every single step that is required to install, I have taken a snapshot. Okay, because it's going to take 30 minutes for installation. So what I've done is, what you have to search in Google, MySQL download for Windows. Okay, once you search this, okay, the next thing is going to happen is, this you have searched, open the first link, download MySQL installer. Okay, as I said, this is a pop-up you're seeing here. Okay, in this pop-up, go for this one, because this is tool, this is a web version. Okay, either you can log in or sign up, or just download for free, your wish. Okay, if you're signing up, means you can create an account here. Why it is a free account only? Why means tomorrow if they are giving any updates, they are releasing some new features, you'll get a mail. That's all. Three options: either if you already have an account ID, go with the login, or you can sign up, or you just tell no, thanks, I don't know, I want to download, I don't need any updates. Okay, some people may face some issues, they would have posted in community. Some people, they may be solving some issues. Those people can go with account, or else it's not required. Okay, so I was actively part of solving the problem, so I logged in. Okay, I logged in, and then I signed in. After that, I give the download now. If I give the download, the file is getting downloaded. Okay, it is around 438 MB. The file is getting downloaded. Okay, the file is getting downloaded. The file has downloaded. I can see in my downloads, this is a MySQL installer file. This is a file, downloaded file, 430 MB file. Okay, now what I will do, it is in downloads. Simply I will put into any of the software, like any folder. I will create one folder and I'll copy that file in the my software folder. Okay, every single step I've taken the snapshot. Remember that. If you follow this, you can install on your own. Every single step you do. You also create a folder. You also copy this. Do everything. Right? Now, once you do this, double click it. It is going to install. It is going to install. Okay. So now what happens? It will take some time. It will take some time. It is still in that position only. Now it started running. Now it started running. It's still running. Time remaining some 4 seconds. Okay. After this, you will get this pop-up. After this, you will get this pop-up. Okay. In this pop-up, you need to choose what type of um, installation you are doing. Okay, whether you want a developer, you want a server, you want a client, you want a full, or you want a custom, depends on what usage you are doing. Okay, we are not going to build any business here. We are not going to use it as a business. We are not going to work for any clients. We are here to learn. We are here to do a research. We are here to do a R&D. So I would always recommend you to go for developer version only. If you're working for some clients, go with this. If you want a complete server, go with this. And if you want full, go with this. And if you want custom, you go with this. If you go for all this, maybe the space required on your laptop should be more. If you're going as a server client full, basically you have to select whatever you're required. It will eat your space. Not required. In the real time, company will be having their own database. You are going to use that for the learning purpose, for the developing purpose. Just have a simple developer version. That should be more than enough. Developer version requires less space. Remember that. Okay, we are here to do research. We are here to learn it. So why are you going with full? You're not going to build any application, right? Okay, I'll expect you to install this developer version. So once you click, always go and click next. Keep an eye on always this next button. Okay. Now this is a very important step. In order to install this MySQL, you have some requirement that has to be installed before only. Okay, that I would say Visual Studio. Okay, Visual Studio, some Visual Studio for tools, Visual Studio for some versions. Something has to be already there. Microsoft products. Some products has to be installed before only, before going with the MySQL database. That means it is dependent on some products. Let us say in my system, some of the requirements are not fulfilled. Okay, whatever it is fulfilled or not fulfilled, you always go and click execute. You always go and click execute. The moment I click execute, it will check for everything whether it is there or not. If it is there, it will start ticking everything. If it is not there, it will only install. See, in my system, Microsoft Visual C++ 2015 to 19, this software or this requirement file was not there. Now it is asking to install this. It is asking to install this. This is a prerequisite to run this installer, MySQL installer. All this is a requirement, but I did not have one of the file. Okay, what I did, nothing I did. Directly, it only asked me a prompt where I have to give install. Okay, so now I'm installing this. This is not a database install. This is a prerequisite which you have used for a installation. You also don't worry, in your system also it will tell which is present, which is not present. It is going to tell which is present, which is not present. This is a prerequisite requirement. Okay, now if I run this, okay, the setup is completed. This is actually a prerequisite to run the database, but I did not go to Google and I did not download all this. It only asked me then and there. I just give next. Okay, so this is a Microsoft's the tool which I had was missing. So I will again install this. Again I will install this. Installation process is completed. Now this Visual Studio is also complete. Visual Studio also is complete. Now see, everything is checked in. That means for all this requirement, all this was installed. Initially, if it was not there, it would have taken you to that requirement file and you just click the download. Now for all the prerequisites or maybe the check requirements, everything is present. Okay, now you go for next. All these are to be installed. Workbench, Excel, router, connectivity, everything has to be installed. Okay, so just go for execute. This is actually time taking step. This will take you some 15 minutes. Everything it will install. See, this is in installing. Then this is completed. It will go for the second one. Again, it is showing the progress. Again, it is completed. Now it is installing this one. Like this, I have taken the snapshots. Completed, and it is installing some connectors. Finally, all the steps are completed. Okay, now I'll go for next. The moment I click next, again it is going for installation is completed, type is completed. Now the product configuration and installation steps, two are there. This is the final completed steps. Now product configuration is there. Just go and click next. 3 products will be installed. One is a server, one is a router, one is a sample examples. And always I would say go for the standard MySQL server connectivity. Okay, so InnomeDB cluster is basically if you're working as a group. Suppose you're working for a project and one person access, maybe you will be required to provide other person access. Since everyone is in a different network, you'll be working from your home, I'll be working from my home, so many people are working on different their own laptop. So we will go with the standard mode. Standard mode means each and every laptop is a single-handedly standalone project. It's not connected with the system. Okay, so go with this, go with the next. Okay, developer computer only you'd select, don't change anything, just go for next. Okay, and you have to set some password in order to log into a database, so go for next. It is going to ask you some password. Okay, please remember this. If you forget the password, it's going to be a huge process. Okay, so I would recommend you to keep a easy one and always remember this password, retype it. Okay, nothing else, don't do anything, go for next. Don't do anything, go for next. And final step, you have to just execute it. All the configurations which you selected above, everything will be applied. So one tick mark it will come. Okay, it is in this step. It has to complete till here. Okay, everything is completed. I will go with finish. I'll go with finish. Okay, so this in the product configuration, this one is completed. It will go to the second one now. Okay, so second also it's installed. You have to give the next button here. If you install next, it is connected to the server. The password which you gave, that will be the password. You have to check it. If it's correct, if the password matches, this is going to be connected. Now the database is installed in your laptop, in your system. Again, go for next. Okay, the final step, again go for execute. Okay, so if you click execute, it will try to install some scripts for you. Okay, it will run, and finally there is a finish. The moment you finish, finally all the steps will be completed. Okay, then go for the next. Installation is completed. Final step, installation is completed. Okay, if you complete the installation, it will just open one prompt like this where it will show it is installed, and that's all. This is what is a tool is. Welcome to MySQL Workbench. This is a final step in the installation. Okay, so remember one thing, MySQL is a database. Okay, MySQL workbenches which you are using for working purpose. It's like an editor. This is a final step. Okay, and I'm telling every single step I've taken a photo, snapshot, right from Google in what you have to search until the installation part. Everything I've taken. Just follow my same process. You will not face any difficulty while installing. You will not face any problem. Okay, so remember one thing, SQL is a language. Okay, MySQL is a database. MySQL Workbench is a tool to write the code. Or so maybe you can call it as an editor to write the code. Three things you remember. SQL is a language. MySQL is a database that we have installed. And MySQL Workbench is the, once you install, right, there only it will show. See here, the final step. At the final step, it is telling start MySQL Workbench after setup. Like it has only installed Workbench. You need not worry. It has only installed the Workbench. Okay, so I'll be sharing this document. Okay, please install it because it's going to be the very first step you are going to take in this course. Installation is important because from tomorrow onwards, everything is going to be practical. No more theory. No more stories. Everyone will be practically implementing on a database. Okay, so let's remember this. Installation is a very important. Every single step I've taken it. Maybe it will take 30 minutes with including downloads, including running this exe files, going with all these configurations. You need 30 to 40 minutes. Please go step by step. Follow the same process. Then we will be installing the SQL Workbench. So tomorrow what we are going to do is we'll see what is this workbench, what you can do with this workbench, and this is how the editor will look. MySQL Workbench, where you have to write the code, where you have to see the results, where you have to see the tables. Everything I'm going to cover in the next class.
Santosh, hi, Asif here.
Yes.
Is there any priority that to get MySQL first, we need to be handling easily with SQL, then SQL Workbench?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
No, any priority is there that first we need to get MySQL after getting familiar with SQL, then only we should be continuing with MySQL. Any hierarchy in this way?
See, SQL is a language. MySQL is a database. MySQL Workbench is you will write the code. So if you learn this language, you can go and communicate to the database. For communicating database, I need one editor where I need to write the code. That is what this Workbench. You're asking the difference between SQL and MySQL?
No. To create a database in MySQL, we need to get SQL language at first, right?
It's a language. You need not install anything. It's a language. So see, for example, when I'm communicating with you, there is nothing like I have to install a language. No, it's just a language. Using that language, I'm communicating to MySQL. So installation part means only this is required. SQL is a language. You need not have any language such as. The tool itself, the database itself will support your language.
Okay, so here we are going to learn language also, right?
Yes, language is what we are going to learn. That is what our importance is.
Okay.
And this is just a database, like it's a tool where you can create your own database application and you can start implementing your code here. So in order to communicate to a database, this database will have, let us say, Amazon having its own product information, it's having its own customer information, everything. In order to communicate to database, you need to know one language. That language is called SQL.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
Yes.
Is any query difference between PostgreSQL and MySQL?
As I said, we
Mhm.
have MySQL, we have Oracle, okay, we have Postgre, okay, and also we have something like
IBM.
okay. What happens is everything is a database. Every database uses SQL as a language in order to communicate it, and I would say 90%, 95% of the syntax remains same. 5% there is a change. That means MySQL will expect some keywords, Oracle will expect some keywords, Postgre will expect some keywords, IBM will expect some keywords. 95% of the syntax are same. Here and there could be small changes. That only will differentiate between the databases. This database requires this type of syntax. This database requires this type of syntax. But 95% it's going to be same.
Same. Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes.
So, MySQL Workbench, which install any Windows supporting?
Whatever I am showing this is for Windows only.
Okay.
See here, MySQL download for Windows. This is for Windows only.
Okay.
It supports for Mac OS also, but rarely people use Mac OS. So Windows is most of them will use it. So I've created a document for it. I'll be sharing this document. Just follow the steps. Just go and search in the Google the same way I have done. Same process you install. 30 minutes you have to have this database ready in your system.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So one thing I would like to say here, download this. This document will be shared and we will continue tomorrow. And going forward, everything is going to be practical classes. Okay. We'll try to avoid theory as much as possible, and practical is something which we will be concentrating more. Okay. And one thing I would request, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Whatever we are teaching, everything is, as I said, it's going to be recorded and we will be uploading in our channel. Okay, so if you see, yesterday's recorded also will be available. Okay, yesterday we have seen this SQL. Okay, so whatever we have covered, it's been in YouTube. Okay, so please subscribe and go with all this playlist. Okay, and you will be able to get the complete information on it. Okay, so please do that. And also whatever videos we are like, whatever sessions we are taking, everything is going to be um, put in the drive as well, so make use of it. You will be giving unlimited access. Anytime you can go and see the videos. Okay, so please subscribe, and also please attend in every session without fail.